Walt Disney World has some big plans for the 50th anniversary. The Disneyland Resort has reopened the Grand Californian Hotel Spa to the general public, so you can go peruse the location once again. And Avengers Campus, what are some of the best things about it? It's California Adventure's newest land, and certainly a lot of people are asking. Hey, it's June 26th, 2021, and Kingdom Report Live starts right now.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Kicking things off like we always do with a live look outside at the Disneyland Resort. We see Cars Land in the distance there today. Oh my gosh, I can see the water falling from the waterfall in the canyons of Cars Land. Look at that, way off in the distance. What a beautiful day. Hello everybody, Wade here for the Kingdom Report. Back with you once again for all the Disney Parks news and discussion from coast to coast. That's right. If you are just joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We always invite you to go ahead and leave us a comment down below. If you haven't done so in the past and you think we deserve it, go ahead and like this video. That would be much appreciated. And if you are somebody that's only listening to us, maybe you're listening to us on iTunes or any number of the podcasting platforms that you can hear this broadcast, well, rate and review, always much appreciated as well. We're coming to you from the Warner Brothers Studios Media District here in Burbank, California, right around the corner from the Walt Disney Studios, just up the road from the Disneyland Resort itself, for all things Disney talk. But before we get there, we think you need to be rewarded. That's right. We think you deserve to win yourself your very own Kingdom Report mug. That is correct. And this week, all you have to do to enter the contest to win is leave the comment beneath this video on our YouTube channel. That's the Kingdom Report on YouTube. Disney World 50. That is the comment you need to leave just beneath this video as soon as the live show comes to an end. All you do is leave the comment Disney World 50, and you will be entered to potentially win yourself your very own Kingdom Report mug. You can be sipping out of the mugs that we sip out of, and can I tell you, it's like gold. It's like sipping out of pure gold. That's how good it is. So, Disney World 50 in the comment section just beneath this video. As soon as the live video posts, you are able to do that on our YouTube channel. And as a reminder, you have until Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So this live show happens on Saturday. Give you a couple of days to see the show, because we realize a lot of people watch the show on demand following the live broadcast. So you have until Monday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, to leave Disney World 50 in the comment section just beneath this video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into all the news, all of the topics that you deserve to hear, we need to introduce you to who's with us today. Once again, Katrina Manzone. Never said her name before, apparently. Tyler Crouch, the dynamic duo. Hello.
Hi, happy Saturday, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be back.
Isn't it, though? Happy
It
summer.
is.
Happy summer. I'm trying to make it all summery. Oh my
It's
god, this
officially
guy.
happened.
It's true. I listen.
I mean, it's going to be in the triple digits.
I like it when it's cold.
Over in the valley.
Freeze me out. That's
that
all I need.
bill is going to be so high for AC.
It is. It is. It's sad, but I'll deal with it.
I'm so
I'll deal
proud
with
of
the
you.
AC bill.
Attaboy.
Thank you.
Yes. And then she'll suffer freeze to
Yeah,
death.
I'll just
Yeah.
wear sweaters and stuff. It's like year round. I'll just keep wearing Uggs and sweaters every day.
Typical flair.
Yep.
Of the Katrina lifestyle. That's
That's
what
it.
that is. my
Athleisure.
gosh. Yeah.
That's the only day I dress up is today
110 degrees.
for you.
Yeah. It's the only day I ever decide to put on bottoms. So live with that
Oh my
image.
goodness.
Yeah. And you don't even see beneath the desk, so you don't know what's going on down there. But
I do.
whoa. Let's
I'm,
not
like,
waste
waiting
any
for
more
something.
time. Let's not waste any more time.
No, I was going
Let's
to leave
not
it
go
at
down that road.
I was just going to leave it at that. That was all we needed to
We
hear.
don't need to hear that. We don't
already
even need
been
to think
said.
about that. And we know that you've tuned out in droves at this point. But let's not waste any more time. It's time for Disneyland News. Disneyland News time. Taking a look at all the headlines coming out of the West Coast. Disneyland Resort, happiest place on earth, original Magic Kingdom. There's so many ways in which to say that. So many things that we can use to share the headlines from the West Coast, and we're going to use a source coming from the Orange County Register today, and that is about how Disneyland has not quite hired back the entire amount of cast members that it let go originally pre-pandemic. In fact, less than half of the 32,000 Disneyland employees have returned to work after thousands were laid off or furloughed during the 412-day coronavirus closure of the Anaheim theme parks. The Disneyland Resort has 15,000 cast members currently, and they are working, and they expect to hire probably about 1,000 more this summer, according to Disneyland officials. Disneyland laid off or furloughed thousands of cast members, and that was all, of course, due to COVID-19. But before the layoffs and furloughs, Disney employed more than 100,000 at its U.S. theme parks, 32,000 at Disneyland, 77,000 at Walt Disney World. It's unclear if or when Disneyland, the largest employer in Orange County prior to the pandemic, will ever return to pre-pandemic staffing levels. The phased reopening of Disneyland and California Adventure means that parks have not yet returned to full attendance capacity or reopened many attractions, restaurants, and shops. Disney CEO Bob Chapek said during a tech conference in late May that he expects the company's U.S. theme parks to see low double-digit increases over the next several months and then reach full capacity by fall. This is getting a lot of chatter, in particular online, Tyler and Katrina, because the discussion really is about whether or not we're ever going to truly see pre-pandemic levels of cast member hiring happen again. We've heard from both Bob Chapek, the CEO, Josh D'Amaro, the Disney Parks chairman, say that they're going to be very methodical about the way in which they reopen things, and likely they are going to stagger things to a point where they won't necessarily need to bring back so many people. However, I think that real question is, they let a lot of people go. Do you think we're ever going to see these numbers at the same level in the future? Are they going to find some ways to script that process?
Oh man, I hope not.
Yeah.
But I think if Chapek's involved, we all know that he's gonna try to like do something sketchy where he's not gonna hire back everybody like they had before, but just kind of like skim the bucket.
Skim
you
the
know,
bucket.
like they just have the bare minimum to make things work, but not make it the way it was before. Not for probably like another. For me, I want to say like another year or so for them to bring back everybody. I know that a couple of my friends that did work in in food and beverage in Disney World finally got their call back, and they used to work part-time and stuff. So that's great. So they're still hiring people, but not to the capacity that they need it to be, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I obviously they lost a lot of money with COVID. Like, there's no doubt about that. Even though they're making billions still, they still, you know, they still have to look good to their shareholders, and you know, a company doesn't want to go backwards. So this is all just them really trying hard to save as much money as possible, by not, because every single person they bring back, they need to spend time training again. It's not like you just throw them right into the fire immediately. They're training them all. They're putting them all through classes again, and showing them, especially when all of the like different, you know, COVID, what do you want to call them, like the different rules that were in effect and stuff that they needed to, you know, adhere by. And so it was all a bunch of training, cost money. They're not going to bring people back in that amount and for a very long time, I think. And it's kind of sad because, like, just anecdotally from the people that we know, a lot of cast members, I should say, are tired, and they're being worked very hard. And it seems like they do need some extra help. It really does. But again, they're going to try and save the money any way they can. And so I think it's going to be quite a while before they get back to where they were. And not to mention the fact that they don't even have like annual pass holders coming. They have still limited capacity. So, you know, they're just they're just not going to worry about it. And we've actually heard from multiple managers when we've been doing like mobile orders, because they'll have somebody with an iPad outside of a establishment, right, who's handling like the mobile orders. And I've had 2 managers now tell me, oh, we're really understaffed today, we're sorry, because the mobile ordering is just getting kind of ridiculous. But so to even hear them, like, managers shouldn't be out there, that's somebody else's job, honestly. But to see them out there with the iPads saying, well, I'm here because we're understaffed, like,
I've never seen so many managers in front of quick service locations in ever.
Boy,
usually I see them walking around, like just like seeing if everything's okay, but I've never seen a manager with like an iPad doing another person's job, because they just needed to like follow up with it. And like, and even at Carthay, they don't have enough people, because we even see managers like delivering food and stuff to people, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and the chefs are out of the kitchen more than I've ever seen them before. But which
is good to see. But again, it's just like, it's kind of crazy to see that they're very understaffed, and they need more to give that level of customer service and being like, I don't know, that smooth Disney that we all know, you know, with the great cast members.
I mean, they're all all the cast members are friendly, but it's just they're tired, I think. Yeah. So
I mean, like, customer service for them, like they're overworked. Like, I feel bad for them. I don't care how like the guest feels, really, in a way. I feel like you can tell like the guests were upset, managers are tired, and all that stuff, and I just feel they need to bring in more people. And I get that's it's like a dig towards like the money bucket that they don't have, but they need to do something.
And you also witness, you guys raise a good point with the mobile ordering, the sort of condensing down of registers, cashiers, that sort of thing, these sort of declining by degree ideas, where now you don't necessarily need as many people to run an operation if things are truly mobile order. Not only are we seeing that much more out east as well at Walt Disney World, we're seeing it here at Disneyland. We're also now watching the rollout of the scan and shop at many of the retail locations, where you can basically, kind of like you do at an Amazon store, you scan what you want and you pay for it via your phone, and off you go. You don't even need to see a cashier. So slowly, cast members are being cycled out of certain positions in favor of a far more cost-cutting, cost-saving mobile order theory that we have going on here, mobile order strategy. So definitely interesting, and we will see how long it takes for Disneyland to sort of bounce back in terms of pre-pandemic staffing, and who knows if we will ever get back to that point as more automated type things get woven into the overall experience. Moving along here, though, I want to talk to you about, speaking of mobile order, food and beverage, lots of dining locations are returning to the Disneyland Resort. Pretty exciting to know that we are going to be seeing restaurants and bars, as they set reopening dates, return to the happiest place on earth, all throughout the property, as a matter of fact. Let's go ahead and take a look at the list to share with you. Several things coming back online for the first time. Hungry Bear Restaurant, July 1st. Harbor Galley, July 1st. Kat Saka's Kettle, July 15th. Refreshment Corner coming back July the 8th. Lucky Fortune Cookery, July 1st. Clarabelle's Hand Scooped Ice Cream, July the 8th. Corn Dog Castle, July 1st. Mortimer's Market, July 1st. Schmoozies, July 1st. Tangaroa Terrace, July the 2nd. And also joining Tangaroa Terrace on July the 2nd, Trader Sam's Bar comes back.
Yes.
I can't imagine what you two are looking forward to the most out of that list.
Schmoozies.
Oh, I thought it was Hungry Bear.
Schmoozies, of course. Yeah.
Got to get those smoothies, you know.
No, I mean, obviously, we're so excited for Trader Sam's to come back, and we're even staying at the Disneyland Hotel almost exclusively because of that reason. So, hopefully we get a table and get to enjoy ourselves, because I know it's going to be very crowded.
They haven't really came out with like if it's just going to be for hotel guests or if it's going to be reservation or anything like that. So it's going to be a bloodbath of the tiki lovers just trying to get a drink.
I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of activity over at the Disneyland Hotel side, especially as the hotel side reopens and more dining is brought back online, not only in that location, but also over within the theme parks themselves. Things like, we're watching the new brunch idea coming from the Lamplight Lounge, and they've got their new boardwalk setup that they're doing, where now you don't even need a reservation. It's a walk-up sort of concept, which is fantastic. Wonderful to have new opportunities, wonderful to have new things online that you can go ahead and enjoy. So you let us know in the comments section, what are you looking forward to the most when it comes to food and beverage returning? Always fun to see those lists, and now it feels like things are finally getting back to a more 100% online level. Everything is coming back online, and so we've been waiting as sort of these waves of reopening have happened. Now it looks like as we march towards like July the 4th, in the middle of July, all these things are returning and very few things remain closed anymore. So now the overall experience, the overall environment, much more ready for you, much more prepared for you in terms of having accessibility to all of these things as restrictions get rolled back due to the pandemic, as well as a lot more liberty being allowed into the theme parks themselves. And speaking of the resort experience, Grand Californian Hotel and Spa is going to be welcoming guests back on in. We did see that obviously with the resort reopening, the Grand Californian, back in April, with guests who had reservations only as the ones who were allowed to enter. It looks like now guests will be able to linger and mull about the property once again, head on into this just truly spectacular hotel and resort property, and go ahead and swing by the Acorn store, the little retail store within the lobby, hang out in the lobby as many of our friends like to do. Go ahead and visit places like Storytellers Cafe, as well as dropping by other dining locations, bars, that sort of thing, Craftsman Grill, so checking out all of those experiences as well. That lobby being one of those places that in the summertime in particular, I love to go spend some time in because it's nice and cool, and then in the wintertime I like to go spend some time in because it's got that gigantic fireplace.
Yeah,
who doesn't love some time at the Grand?
I love it. Even with the AC pumping in the summer, you could sit by the fireplace and just be totally comfortable, Yeah. Think of Christmas when you're there.
Think of Christmas, think of snow.
Yeah.
Think of sleigh bells, off you go. Like reindeer in the sky, you can fly.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
He's a poet.
I'm triggered by that one word that you just shared there, so we're going to let go.
You want me to say it again?
Can't do it again. No.
Took all of his energy the first
time. It's
time.
a one and done sort of thing. But good to see the Grand welcoming people back in and being able to take part in the amenities once more.
It's really a nice place to just hang out. I mean, if you're like getting tired throughout the day at California Adventure, it's just awesome to go be able to hang out in the lobby. And I wonder when they're going to bring back, like, they were doing like table service for a while from Hearthstone. So I wonder if that's like in the cards anytime soon. But that's kind of one of the most quiet places, most relaxing places to hang out in all the Disneyland Resort. So I'm excited to be able to walk back through there. It's a hub of relaxation.
A hub of relaxation.
I mean, it is
rejuvenation. Watching people play in the pool while you can't get in unless you're a hotel guest.
Yeah, and have a reservation to actually sit there.
I mean, who doesn't love booking a reservation to sit at the pool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
Honestly,
it, right?
I'm always kind of surprised how many people do want to just sit at the pool all day. I mean, I'm a theme park kind of guy, but I get it. I don't know.
I can hear people screaming at California Adventure in the distance.
Yeah,
like,
from the
that
pool.
sounds fun, but no, I'm gonna lay here. That's fine.
Maybe I'm just spoiled because we do have a pool at our house, so it's like I get it if you don't have a pool, So
spoiled.
But you do like we like going to the Craftsman bar and like because it's cool. Like it's like a pool bar. You don't have to be near the water to enjoy it. And then you hear like everybody having fun and playing, so that's always real. Like it's relaxing,
I like that.
You know?
That's fun.
But he's not a pool goer, so it's okay.
Technical term.
Yeah.
I'm not a pool goer, but
No.
you might be. Yeah. Well, good to see the Grand coming on back. Are you as amped up to be able to visit the Grand Californian Hotel property once again as we are? Always nice to be able to bounce in, especially not just there, but like the Disneyland Hotel side. Hasn't been open up until now reopening, I should say, but hasn't been open for the longest time, and lots of big overhauls happening on that end of the property, and definitely looking forward to eventually that Disney Vacation Club tower being built back there next to the Disneyland Hotel. So lots going on on the hotel side of the resort. You let us know in the comments section. You amped up to see anything new when it comes to dining, food, and beverage returning? As always, we love to hear your perspective. All right, my friends, you stick around. More Kingdom Report Live and Walt Disney World news coming up next.
Do you know everything the ghost host is going to say before he says it? Are you ready to thank the Venetians each time you board Spaceship Earth? Can you recite Walt's opening day dedication speech? Then join the Kingdom team today, the influential legacy fan community featuring exclusive merchandise that will alert all who've come to this happy place that you are more than just another guest. You are a trusted theme park fan. Don't miss out. Join the Kingdom team right now by visiting the homepage at kingdomreportlive.com. That's kingdomreportlive.com. And now, back to the magic.
Walt Disney World News Time. Taking a look at all of the headlines, all of the trending stories coming out of Walt Disney World on the East Coast, Orlando style. Garrett Hassel, our Walt Disney World reporter, can't be with us this week. He's enjoying some time at the Kennedy Space Center. I don't know if he's training for a mission or what's going on, but we look forward to having him back very soon. So you get us today, myself, Tyler Crouch, Katrina Manzone, discussing the latest topics coming out of the Orlando theme parks. And if you haven't heard, Walt Disney World has made an announcement this past week. 50th anniversary celebration plans are at play. Walt Disney World is planning an 18-month-long celebration in honor of its 50th anniversary. All 4 parks at the Lake Buena Vista, Florida resort will take part in the world's most magical celebration beginning October the 1st. Disney has announced. October 1st, 1971, the resort opened to guests for the first time, and so Magic Kingdom being the only park that really existed at that time. It's really a celebration of Magic Kingdom. However, the entire property is getting into the mix. The celebration will include a new nighttime spectacular called Disney Enchantment at the Magic Kingdom. And let's take a look at that Magic Kingdom image there. That is some of the concept art that we're seeing. It's going to come with projection mapping of Main Street for the first time. Over at Animal Kingdom, you see a new kite show that is going to be introduced there. That's pretty exciting to see that they're finally going to be able to use that space that their nighttime show most recently occupied. Now it just sort of sits dormant. Great big sort of stadium seating area that no longer has a whole lot of use. Well, they're going to put it to use once again for the 50th anniversary with a bit of a kite spectacular. Over at Epcot, I know that there's going to be Harmonious, the show we've all been waiting to see, that we've watched them install major apparatuses for out in World Showcase Lagoon. You take a look at that image and just realize how big of a setup this is for one particular show. Epcot Forever is not somebody's favorite around here in particular. He happens to be at the Kennedy Space Center today. Not a big fan of it at all, but this Harmonious, the next big spectacular online for the 50th anniversary, is what apparently they've sunk all their money into, all their development into, and so we really look forward to seeing that very soon. Also, in addition to that, statues are coming. Character statues, more than 50 of them are going to be placed throughout the parks, and you see the, it's like a little collectible basically, where you take a picture with each of these statues. We know that at the Disneyland Resort during their 50th anniversary, there were golden Mickeys everywhere throughout the property, where you had to go find the golden Mickeys. Looks like they're doing golden character statues now throughout the parks, so that's very exciting to hear. And of course, the characters themselves are going to be dressed up in their 50th anniversary's bests. I'm pumped to see that they're finally announcing things coming online for the 50th anniversary. We were concerned, I think is a good word, a little worried because we hadn't heard anything yet, and they had just released a commercial that basically talked about how great Disney World is, and that was it. That was the extent of it. A bunch of guests coming together saying, we love this place, happy 50. And we kept thinking, are they just waiting until they know what their future is going to look like a little bit more before they release and announce and talk about what's coming? And certainly that looks to be the case. I totally anticipate, Katrina, a lot more being announced as we march through summer.
There should be 50 announcements leading up to the 50th anniversary.
Love it.
Little or big, they already announced like the nighttime things and like the kite show in the afternoon. So now, You know they're going to have a special cupcake. You know they're going to have a special cake slice. You
Yep.
know there's going to be some kind of special Dole Whip, maybe. A golden Dole Whip.
Golden
Possibly.
Whip.
Wow.
A golden whip. So maybe with like a little castle on top. Who knows? You know, I don't have these things. It's
Dreaming
just a great
big.
idea.
Anything can
But
happen.
if they do it, I would like royalties on it because that was my idea first.
You got to do it.
I said do. But
Good job.
thank you. I'm 5. So yeah, so I would say that would be really cool if they did like little announcements like leading up, because it makes you more pumped, right? Every time they do an announcement, we get all excited. The nighttime shows, I'm excited for the Magic Kingdom show. It kind of looks like with the picture, it looks kind of like Peter Pan spreading like the pixie dust on
the same thing.
Jolly Roger, you know?
Mhm.
So it kind of looks similar. So I'm like, ooh, so is Tinkerbell gonna like go down and like spread her pixie dust all around? Looks really cool. I'm excited.
What are you
Yeah.
most looking forward to from that slate of announcements? Is there anything that stood out to you, Tyler?
I mean, I'm excited that they're just announcing anything,
The kite
honestly.
show.
Just that
but-
it's happening.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I know a lot of people are kind of, I'm going to say, poo-pooing. See,
No pooing.
do-do.
and poo-poo.
Anyway, I know a lot of people are kind of against, or like thinking like, why are they doing this kite show in the middle of the day at Animal Kingdom where there's no shade and we're all going to die? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Animal Kingdom needs exactly something like that for me personally. Like, because I feel like you get to about halfway through your Animal Kingdom day and you're like, well,
What do we
what
do?
should we do now? Like, so I don't know. It's one of those things that I think in a weird way I'm kind of most excited for that, just to see what that's like.
Disney Kite Tales is what it's called.
Yeah,
Just don't get rid of the pontoon boats going around with
I
with
think
the
that's
characters.
fun too. Yeah, I love that.
Just
I
don't
hope
do
they
it.
keep that.
Well,
But-
and it looks like in the concept art, if we can take a look at the Animal Kingdom image once again, it looks like there are pontoon boats out there. You see that? There's at least
those
boats.
like the kite flyers.
Are those?
I think
Yeah,
they're
are
like
those
little
like
jet
jet
skis,
skis?
right?
Yeah.
So there's
I
some sort
mean,
of water activity. Yeah.
it's cool to see anything happen with that giant arena that they spent millions of dollars on, clearly, and they need something to happen there. That, you know, the nighttime show was not a success, obviously. So I think it's a good idea. I'm excited for Harmonious, even though to me I think they've kind of ruined the landscape of Epcot with that, with all those like barges in the middle of the water that you'll never be able to see all
They're
the
quite
countries.
an eyesore. Yeah.
Yeah, like during the day, you know, even if and I hear people being like, well, when it's up and operational, it's going to be a fountain all day. And I'm like, I don't want to see a fountain. I want to see all of the countries around Epcot. Like, isn't that why I go to the
I
theme
mean, we
park?
are in Florida, so we're not, but they have fountains everywhere.
Yeah.
Like everywhere
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
true.
Along the freeway, there's a fountain. I'm like, why is there a fountain on the freeway? I don't get
Aesthetic.
It
it.
is
So,
true.
so now they just need a bigger fountain in the middle of Epcot.
Yeah. I'm also very excited that they are finally doing map projections on Main Street, because, I mean, at Disneyland, we've had that forever. And I feel like the Main Street buildings are even larger, I feel like, in Disney World. So I think it'll be a great canvas for them to do something cool on. So yeah,
Seems
that's
long
mostly what
overdue.
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
overdue, because you would go to the different Halloween parties even. You know, you'd go on the West Coast and they had all these amazing projections that they created for Halloween, and then you'd go over to the East Coast and it's like, oh, there's a blue window. Whoa, you know, like
everybody's
it
like
was just-
fighting to get to the castle, and like everybody's like on top of each other trying to get that perfect projection. But now it's like I feel like it's gonna be able to like, be more spread out.
Mhm.
So no one's fighting to get that perfect view of the castle and having a bloodbath.
You can see it from all over the place. No death and destruction up and down Main Street finally. That's great news. And another special feature of October the 1st coming up for their big anniversary is the opening of Remy's Ratatouille Adventure at Epcot. So a new attraction coming online. The ride will take guests through the flavorful world of Disney and Pixar's Ratatouille. A new restaurant, La Crêperie de Paris, is also debuting on October the 1st. And I really wish we had Garrett here, because he could speak French to us, and we could all swoon and wonder why we can't speak French as good as him. So still thinking about him. Good luck out there in space, buddy. The mission is yours. Moving along, the Contemporary Resort right outside the Magic Kingdom, Disney's Contemporary Resort, is in fact moving ahead with an Incredibles room makeover. This is something that was rumored for a long period of time, and you see the room itself there. You kind of get a good idea as to just how they've overhauled this room to be much brighter than the rooms of the past, but certainly with little accents of the Incredibles, from the pillows with Frozone and Edna Mode, to other aspects of the room, especially with the closet space and the windows. You see the heroes of the Incredibles flying all over the place, and then of course their super suits in the closet themselves. This is something that, as they infuse more intellectual property within the hotels, we're seeing Moana being infused into Disney's Polynesian Resort right next to the Contemporary, and more characters just being sort of placed within these resort hotels that didn't necessarily have a whole lot of character intellectual property before. There seems to be very two distinct camps in the Disney fan community, of people who are like, why the hell would they do that? These have stories themselves and they're special to begin with, and we love these properties the way they are. And then there's the group that says, oh my God, more Disney, more magic. This is fun. I like this. And so I don't necessarily take any sort of hardcore position on it. It's Disney's property. They're going to do what they want to do no matter what. I don't think it's worth getting upset over, especially if it's done tastefully, if it's done with art in mind, and it's not overbearing. If I'm not walking into a room that's like screaming characters at me, if it's tastefully appointed, okay, if you can do it well. However, I can't get over how much this one room shot, if we could take that very first image of the room as a whole once more, this feels to me, having just recently stayed at Disney's Pop Century Resort, this looks, outside of the couch, right? So there's like a couch there, that's nice, a little accent table and stuff like that. This has hallmark touches of Pop Century's makeover recently. Now, I get it that they're trying to go with this much more sort of trendy, fresh motif with their hotel rooms, but outside of the little accents, they're starting to look alike. And the whole reason you stay at these properties is their own unique theming. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, no, actually, we were just talking about it in chat too, where the room looks nice and all. I'm not going to say it doesn't look nice, but exactly what you just said, all of the hotels are now starting to adopt the same look. And yeah, okay, this one has Incredibles and the Polynesian has Moana, but like, look at the beds, look at like the way that they set everything up. They're all exactly the same kind of room. And we love Grand Destino. All of those rooms at Coronado Springs, Grand Destino, all look exactly like this, just more wood, like that's really all it is. So the thing for me is not so much that I hate the characters. I love the look of the rooms. I think it looks cool, but why would I spend hundreds of more dollars a night to stay in this room as opposed to staying at a room in a moderate or even value resort when the amenities seem pretty much exactly the same? It just, being close to Magic Kingdom isn't enough for me. It's not worth thousands more dollars if you're staying there for like a week, So I'm exactly with you, Wade. I think that I don't mind the characters. The problem is that all these resorts are starting to look so similar now, that why spend so much more money on these deluxe resorts? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Granted, the rooms are a bit bigger, and they do have a handful of more amenities, especially the more exclusive end of the property, them being those deluxe style resorts. There's extras that are thrown in.
I guess I'm just like, I don't even know what extra. I don't use that many extras at these places that I don't know about you, but if I was going to one of these deluxe resorts, it's not like I take advantage of all the different like amenities they offer. I just go to the room, I go to the theme parks, and then I go back to my room.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm different. I don't know.
I do much the same.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just feel strange about the whole thing. I'm like, and it feels like it's just saving them money, right? Like they designed one room and they're like, okay, well, let's just change this slightly. We'll put up new wallpaper, and it's just.
Yeah, and Katrina, at first glance, when I saw that image, my gut reaction was I thought it was Pop Century at first, because of just like passing glance. It wasn't like I was invested in the image. I took one look at it and went, oh, are they referencing Pop Century as some sort of inspiration or something like that? And then I started to look at the image and I went, oh, well, wait a minute. No, it was The Incredibles. This is all about the Contemporary. What the heck? So again, I don't necessarily take a hardline approach of like, we can't ever have characters infused and stuff like that. It just is starting to feel, like Tyler said, a little more like everything else. When theming is what you do, it seems strange that I'm now getting vibes of everything looking similar.
It's like when you go to one of those like gated communities, right? And every house is like the exact same house.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but
The colors
this
are
one's a
different.
little more brown and this one's a little more green. You
And
know,
that door's red.
Yeah, but it's like they're all the same exact house. Like that's kind of how I feel about it. Like they put up, like I said, they put up different wallpaper. You know, they have a couple different accents from the furniture that's different, but like you said, it's exactly like Pop Century, which is not a bad thing. Like I think it's actually a good thing overall to have the, like, you know, the rooms feel nicer, like especially at a place like Pop Century or something. But it just makes me feel like, why would I spend, you know, sometimes contemporary can be like $1,000 a night.
Yeah.
Like
Depending
why
on
would
season,
you
you
do
bet.
that?
Yeah.
You know, if this room is exactly the same as the Pop Century room, I mean, you can save so much money by even just, if you're worried about being close to Magic Kingdom, just do Uber and it'll cost you less money than staying at the Contemporary every night. It's just not really worth it, you know?
I mean, what was Edna Mode thinking? Like, did she sign off on this?
We did consult her, right?
Because, I mean, I think she knows better than this. Like, this looks tacky. For me, again, like what Tyler said, it's just, I mean, okay, yeah, there's cute little quirks. You open the closet and, oh my God, their super suits are in there. That's so cool. You open the cupboard and then there's like a cookie num num and then there's something else like a fake remote inside the like the drawer.
I like that
And-
their masks are up on the top level of the closet, though. You see that? You
Yeah,
see
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
that is
cute,
cool.
but
I didn't
I'm
notice
so
that, yeah.
short that I won't be able to see it. And then I'm like, maybe there'll be like a creepy raccoon eyes in the middle, like in the middle of the night. You open it and it glows in the dark. Okay, yeah, oh, that would be cool, right?
That'd be a fun good night
There's
kiss. So like
magic,
raccoon
yeah.
comes through the vent.
Oh my God, you see his like creepy like blinking eyes. Anyway, but I think that it's boring. You know, there's nothing. It's cheap because if something gets damaged, they can easily replace it, right?
Yeah.
So if the carpet gets damaged, they can easily replace it. If the upholstery breaks or something, they're easily replaced. It's nothing unique about it. Like over at Boardwalk, they have like a lamp that with Minnie, and then there's like the chair that has a special decoration on the back. There's like little things that make it. I don't need to get slapped in the face with Disney IP. Sometimes I just like want to go in and then it's just like simple and subtle. You're like, oh, like that's like really quaint. You see Minnie on, I think she was like on a bike at Boardwalk or something and like on a lamp. And that's like quaint. But if it breaks, that's expensive to replace, right? And then if the chair breaks, that's expensive to replace. And that's like just a simple IP. And they're like just like a simple thing that they can do, but it looks really neat. But they're getting cheaper. So if, something gets scratched, they can simply just paint it, or it's like a simple upholstery because there's really nothing. I'm sure they can keep like tons of it in there. And then I think with the Polynesian and Moana, they do have new carpets, and which is actually kind of cool. Like if you think about it, and it's like a quaint, subtle feature, but they still have those little tiki lamps in there with what's the god's name? God, I just forgot it. What you have it at home? You bought one.
The Tiki God.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name too. Actually,
but there's like the famous tiki guy, and they made a lamp, and it's in everybody's room. He bought it because he wanted it so bad. He's like, this looks really cool, and then they sold it. So if they had something like really cool inside the rooms for Incredibles, it would make it incredible. Like, anything like a lamp or some kind of special, cool technical thing where you open it and it like does some kind of, I don't know, anything cool. Just give me something for like, that's
cool
like
technical thing.
incredible-esque type thing, like this just looks like Pop Century. It looks cheap. I don't like it. If you're paying $600 for a room, it really needs to be like, I don't know. I guess I'm like part of those people that I don't need to be slapped in the face with Disney IP stuff. Like I don't care about a throw pillow. Do you know how many germs are on that throw pillow?
That throw pillow is
it's
getting
gonna be
directly
thrown to the floor.
on the floor as soon as I get into that room.
I don't care about that like Edna Mode stuff. Like, okay, that's great, but it's cheap. It's simple. Like they can make 45 pillows, and if one gets damaged, it's easily replaceable. The sheets are white. There's nothing really unique about it. All the new beds are all lifted now, which I like because you can put your luggage underneath.
Space, yeah.
Because before they're all boxed beds, so you couldn't do anything underneath, and your luggage just is like, you can't even get out the door because the rooms are smaller. And if you're staying with a family of 4, you have like 6 sets of luggage. You're like, where am I supposed to store all this stuff? So I totally get it, but just make it, just I don't know, like just heighten it just a little bit because you're in a deluxe resort. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got the monorails, you got the boat, you're in walking distance of Magic Kingdom, but you're pretty much like, I don't know, all the other resorts they're very far away. So good luck getting a bus.
And for those that don't know, the Pop Century Resort, as I mentioned, for those that don't know or haven't been to Walt Disney World, that's the lowest tier resort. So that's considered the value property, one of the value properties at least. And so it's where you pay the least amount of money, whereas the Contemporary is in the deluxe category at the very top. And so you pay the most amount of money. And now they're starting to resemble each other.
And you have the Skyliner at Pop Century, don't you?
Yeah.
So you get to go to 2 parks instead of 1 park.
Right.
And because that monorail loop sometimes can be very treacherous to get to Magic Kingdom if you're at like, even the Grand Floridian, because you're like the last one at the stop to get there. So then you're just kind of like, okay.
It is deceiving, yeah. Because on paper, you're like, oh, we're right next to Magic Kingdom. But it's not really that much different than taking a bus over there a lot of the time. I don't know, from what we've seen.
All things to consider if you are planning a trip to Disney's Contemporary Resort. We'd love to hear if you feel like the new theming is something that excites you. Certainly, we're not poo-pooing the idea entirely. It's cool to have characters, especially, I think, obviously, Disney World is for children, right? First and foremost, and kids at heart, but kids are going to probably love the fact that the Incredibles are featured all over the place within a room, and ultimately, that's probably what's most important. But you let us know, do you feel like the value of staying at the Contemporary Resort, now starting to resemble so much of other properties, is something that you think is good, decent, okay? You let us know in the comment section. Always appreciate your perspective. Hey, Disney's Boo Bash. We talked about it last week. It was selling out like crazy. Most of October was gone in terms of the event dates themselves. This is the party, the after hours party, that isn't offering a whole lot on the surface and was just selling out like crazy. Well, this past week, they must have known. They must have known that people were talking about it and excited about it for some reason. And now, so many of the events that were sold out, so many of the nights that were sold out have been replenished. Capacity has been expanded, and now multiple dates in October have returned, and you can buy tickets again. So capacity has expanded for this after hours event. Certainly one of the features of the after hours experience for any of these parties. It's a special ticketed event where you're able to go enjoy yourself some rides, enjoy yourself some Magic Kingdom time with far less wait, with far less of a crowd. And then you got some extra perks that are thrown in. We went through it last week sort of at length as to what you're going to be offered in the party overall. But on the surface, it didn't seem like a whole lot. And now they've opened up even more tickets to what was originally sold out, and now we're offering up opportunities for additional people to join in. Certainly, we don't know what that capacity cap is, Katrina, but very interesting to see that it had sold out on all these dates, and now they're like, oh yeah, let's open up a couple more spots in there, give people an opportunity.
That's crazy. It's just, it's mind-blowing when I saw this, because you were those lucky people, right? You're like, I got that ticket. I'm so excited. It's like limited capacity, right? Because that's normally what we think when it's like a special after hours event. Right. And so it's like limited capacity. It's only open for 4 hours, or 4 hours, right?
3 hours.
3 hours.
Right?
And
yep,
then
3 hours.
And then you get like some food and beverage snacks here and there. And then they all of a sudden just open up the floodgates again, and you're like, oh God. Like how many more did they actually do? Are they going to be like raising capacity? Are they going to be adding stuff that we don't know about? Or are they going to be like, oh, we'll see how many tickets we sell and then maybe add an hour or two more to the ticket? And I really hope that they do this before the actual event starts, so everybody has that equal playing field. Because I know we talked about it the last time, where you never know, they might add a show, they might add a firework thing, or maybe a Hocus Pocus show. Fingers crossed on that one. But I really hope that if they're adding more capacity, they're going to be giving you maybe an hour or two more to do this, on top of maybe a show, to like get people to be more spread out. Because if they're only going to do this for 3 hours and they're going to be adding more people, Oh, I feel really bad for all these people that spent all that money on that ticket, especially at the end of October when it's like $200 a pop for each ticket and you're a family of 4.
Big money.
Might as well go stay over at the Contemporary for the night.
and certainly, Tyler, we don't know what that capacity is. We're not necessarily sure. It's just interesting to note that suddenly all these dates that were gone are back.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it last week, like you said, and they use that word after hours, and every time they've used that for a party in the past, that has meant very limited capacity, walk-on rides, taking photos of Main Street with nobody on them. So if they're using that, they've already taught us what to expect from that word, from those 2 words, after hours. And so last week I was saying, well, of course it's got to be low capacity, right? So I'm going to reserve judgment until we see how these parties go, because again, we don't know what the capacity is, as Wade has said. But it sure looks shady to me, and and I think it is really my knee-jerk reaction is that it's pretty crappy of them to do this. I mean,
who's lurking in the shadows? Chapek.
Oh, he's watching.
And I don't think they will add a show. I don't think they will add any hours or anything like that, truthfully. I think this is it, because if you're going to do something like that, if you're going to add fireworks, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would complain at that point, like, well, I didn't buy a ticket because you said there weren't going to be fireworks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, what they really should have done, and this is another money-saving thing that is going to suck for a while, because this is what Disney is going to do. They're going to try and save money because of COVID. They should have added more nights.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what they should have done. To be good to the people that have already bought tickets, you should have just added more nights, Disney. But here we are. I'm going to reserve final judgment. Looks shady, feels shady. I don't like the feel of it.
Don't be Slim Shady.
No.
Mm-mm.
Be Fat Shady.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that it's odd suddenly all these days have reopened with availability. If you're somebody that's going to the Boo Bash, we asked you last week to let us know. Interestingly enough, a lot of people saying, yeah, no, I'm totally excited just because it's Halloween and it's going to be great. Granted, this is the placeholder for Halloween, because likely they didn't know what was going to happen and they just wanted to offer something. But at any rate, you let us know in the comment section. Are you somebody that's looking forward to the Boo Bash? What do you think now that your sold out event potentially was increased in capacity, and now you're going to be joined by even more people? Again, we don't know what that capacity is, but very interested to know how you feel. If you were in a sold out date, let us know in the comment section, please. As always, appreciate hearing what's on your mind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep the fun rolling. It is time for the Disney List. Disney List time, where we take a look at some of the best and some of the least best of Disney parks. Today, it's all about Disney California Adventure and what specifically is so great about Avengers Campus. Some of the best things about Avengers Campus is what we are going to be discussing. Tyler Crouch, Katrina Manzone here to discuss it. They are 2 people who not only produced a wonderful sort of tip vlog here on the Kingdom Report YouTube channel. If you haven't seen that, be sure to check it out, as to what you can experience at Avengers Campus. They were able to, get that into action as the, no pun intended, get that into action the very week of Avengers Campus opening up. So you were able to get an understanding as to the lay of the land and all the things you can anticipate. But we're going to ask them what are some of the best things in their mind when they went and experienced everything Avengers Campus had to offer. What topped the list? Katrina, let's start with you. Best things about Avengers Campus.
Okay. I love all of the action that's happening inside. I like the music. It gets you really involved. Like, even before you're even stepping in the land, you already anticipate stuff. So then you finally step in, and then you get this like action sounds, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like in here. Something's gonna happen any minute. And then all of a sudden, if you wait, like, now they actually posted the times for Spider-Man. Before, they just said if he comes out, he comes out. It's Spider-Man. He just does whatever he wants. And now they posted the time. So if you're able to catch that, it's really neat. And then he like flies through the air, and then you're like, what more can happen now? And then you just keep walking, and then like Black Widow's there, and she's doing her stuff. Oh my God, look at that, perfect timing. And then, and then Black Panther's there, and they do this fight sequence, and then the Dora Milaje come out a little bit later down the road, and that's really neat. It's just, everything just keeps happening, you know, and then it just seems like so cohesive, and it's really fun to see the characters. I think the food is great. If you're able to like get it and get a mobile order. I love those tater tots. They're like so good. I'm obsessed with tater tots. If anybody wants to get to my heart, it's tater tots.
Tater tots are the way, huh?
Yeah. I love tater tots. But anyway, the food's great. I love it. And then even the nighttime, like if you're able to like stick around, because before you pretty much had to wait in this like huge line, and now we hear that since everything's kind of changed with the rules of Disneyland and the spacing, it's actually not a long wait to actually get inside the land now. Yeah, so you're able to like come and go and not be like, okay, if we want to see the nighttime, we cannot leave, when you're here. So we're, the nighttime stuff, I think going around the ancient sanctum. That's very hard to say for me. Doctor Strange area. That is probably the coolest place at night. I mean, even if you just take a walk, a stroll around the campus, it's really cool. But I think that's like my favorite part in the nighttime, is just to kind of like hang out there. It's like kind of romantic.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Elegant and romantic.
Yeah.
Very nice. What tops your list, Tyler?
So for me, like as Katrina was alluding to with like the different shows and things that pop off while you're hanging out in Avengers Campus, I think one of my favorite things that I really hope that Disney takes into account in a lot of other lands and even just existing lands and stuff like that it's the fact that these characters like Spider-Man, they perform this show basically for everybody, make it feel like it's, a lived-in place, a place where Spider-Man is actually hanging out. He comes around from like one side of the building, and then he makes his way all the way around, like on top of the building, like, so that if you're on like all sides of that building, you're going to see Spider-Man at some point. And then he comes down and does a meet and greet with everybody. Like, that's, I think, my favorite thing, that they tell a story, and then from that story, he comes and takes pictures with people. Like, and they do that with Doctor Strange, where Doctor Strange does his little magic show, and then he calls Thor, and then Thor comes out and starts meeting with people. And, I just think that is a really fun way to go about doing character meet and greets. That's a lot better than, like, wait in line, watch the character walk out from behind a door, pose for a couple pictures, and then he goes back into that door, right? Like, to me, that's the really fun thing about Avengers Campus. And I think that, like, they were getting there with Galaxy's Edge. I think Galaxy's Edge kind of shows a couple of those things, but the shows don't go far enough at Galaxy's Edge. It's just like Chewbacca beating a hammer on something, So this is one of those things with Spider-Man flying through the air and then crawling down the wall and everything, and then he's there to meet you. I mean, that's cool. That's awesome stuff. So and I think they learned a lesson with COVID too, where that was one of the things that I learned that I really loved, is like, I would rather watch Winnie the Pooh go out and chase butterflies than watch him watch him take pictures with a bunch of people standing there, and that's me. I know people do want to take photos as well. And Avengers Campus lets you do the best of both worlds. So
cool.
Very cool. And then the other thing, I mean, let's face it, like, what does California Adventure do best for me? It's like the food and drinks. And Avengers Campus takes it to a whole nother level with the different theming that they have for the food. I mean, the giant Impossible meatball is so tasty. It's one of my favorite things. And
I see pictures of that Choco Bar, and I'm like, God, I wish I could try that.
Yeah, the giant chocolate bar that they make, the giant chicken sandwich, the not so little chicken sandwich they like to call it. It's just a lot of fun stuff that you can't get anywhere else. And yeah, it's just a piece of breaded chicken, but the way that they present it is really fun. And like, even down to getting like the little beer flight that they have that's on the ruler with the little cups, and everything they thought of was just so smart, and it all tastes good from everything I've had so far anyway. And even the idea of the restaurant itself is so fun. Like, you can see, like, what's her name? Cassie Lang, I think, is, Ant-Man's daughter. She's got like some stuff in there, and they even talk about, like, her idea is that, like, oh, this will be a lot easier to like take out trash and stuff. We'll shrink down the trash cans, and then we can have ants take the trash out for us.
So smart.
And I just think all that stuff is
she's
brilliant.
smart.
Yeah, Cassie, she's a genius lover. So I think those are really kind of my two things where they've exceeded expectations, is in the character design and like what they're doing, and then also just the food. I think those two things knocked it out of the park. I think, you know, the ride could have been a little bit cooler, but it's still fun. I think it's a nice addition overall, honestly. But, you know, I'm very excited to see what they bring with the Quinjet ride, which will eventually come. So
I have something to say when you're done.
Go for it.
Oh, okay.
It's time.
I think it's really cool that they keep changing Loki's outfit.
Yes,
Me too.
stuff like that, yeah.
It blew my mind because at first, you know, he's in his normal Loki gear when we saw him, and then we were able to see him again for when we went to visit for his birthday. And then he's in his like TVA getup with the little like thing around his neck. And then I'm like, oh, that's so crazy. How long are they going to keep this?
Yeah.
And then it was like, boom, the next week he's in his little suit and tie and his jacket. And I'm like, I can't wait to see this. I think that's really neat that they're actually bringing this stuff to life.
Yeah.
And they're going to be moving it, you know, because at Star Wars, it's just kind of like, blah, blah. It's like boring because nothing happens, you know, and then nothing changes and they try to create a story. And here it's just like, no, Loki's out right now. We're going to change his outfits and keep doing what, you know, what's going on. And then you never know because they're probably going to bring out Captain Marvel at some point. And
Well, she's there.
But they're going to change her hair or something probably for
Oh,
her
I
new
see what
movie.
you're
Like
saying,
they're going to probably evolve the characters as the movies
Right.
progress, you know?
Adapting it to
So
the series.
I'm really
Yeah.
excited to see what they're going to be doing because everybody keeps asking like, where are these certain characters? And I'm like, just wait. They're going to come.
I
They're
think
gonna come.
I think they made a huge mistake with Galaxy's Edge, like kind of trying to force it into a time, you know, of that universe. And when there can be no Darth Vader, there can be no Baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever you want to call him. But then Disney itself has even just decided, screw that, we're gonna put Grogu in there. Like we're making our money whether you like it or not.
Figure
So
it out,
you know.
Photo pass.
So I mean, and listen, the comic books can be kind of convoluted. Let's all be honest. And so for them to say like, no, Avengers Campus is like a center for a multiverse, like, you know, it's a goofy little thing to say, but the comic books have done it. So why can't a theme park do it, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense seeing Loki change his outfit, and we're gonna definitely see changes throughout Avengers Campus's existence and see a lot of cool things.
No
come and
doubt
go.
about it. Very good. Well, we appreciate hearing what tops your list. Now, we turn it on over to all of you. Are you somebody that has visited Avengers Campus, had that opportunity? Let us know what tops your list is, some of the best things to do in the comments section. Or if you're somebody that has not been there yet, what are you most looking forward to? Again, you can check out on the Kingdom Report YouTube channel a couple of tips that both Tyler and Katrina have shared with all of you, so you can best prepare for when you next visit Avengers Campus, a California adventure. All right, my friends, you stick around. More Kingdom Report Live next.
Looking for some digital magic to help you through your week? The Kingdom Report is here for you, covering the latest Disneyland and Disney World news, experiences, and events. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Kingdom Report Live so you never miss an update. And drop a subscribe on the Kingdom Report YouTube channel for new videos every week. Don't miss out. Join this growing community of theme park fans as we aim to connect you to more of what makes you happy. For more information, visit KingdomReportLive.com. And now, back to the magic.
Kingdom Team All Call time. This is the question and answer segment of the broadcast. This is where we take a look at some of your questions that come to us via KingdomReportLive.com. Are you somebody that has a question for us? Submit it at KingdomReportLive.com, and we might just read it here. This week, Danny asks, in light of the recent LA Times article where Disney executives said they were not going to hire many more cast members, do you think the recent poor customer service, i.e. reduced menus, mobile ordering, and long waits for everything at the parks, is here to stay? Is this the beginning of a return of the dark days of Paul Pressler? Now, Paul Pressler, for some context, is somebody who many hardcore Disney fans are not fans of. He is somebody that used to run the Disneyland Resort back when things were probably at their worst, right around the time where things started to transition into California Adventure, and there was a whole era there where things just came off a little cheap and things just became more about retail and dining than it did about the overall park experience. Now, on top of that, several accidents occurred during that time, something Disney is not known for. Lots of maintenance was sort of in dilapidation, and things were just sort of falling apart. So I think that's what he means when it comes to Paul Pressler and sort of that dark era. Now, the article that he's referencing didn't necessarily cite that executives were saying they weren't going to be hiring a whole lot of cast members. I think it was more so the discussion of, and we covered it here in this live broadcast today, about Disneyland sort of bouncing back slowly and being very methodical about how it brings cast members back online. But the question is a valid one. Things have been very different in terms of the pandemic bounce back, and certainly the overall experience is not what it was like prior to the pandemic setting in. So we'll start with Katrina. Do you think that this is poor customer service? You know, you've got the reduced menus, long wait times, mobile ordering for everything. Do you think we are embarking on something not like we've ever experienced before, at least in the modern Disney Parks era?
I think it's getting better. I think it's slowly changing. I know like Lamplight Lounge used to have a reduced menu, and then now they brought back their menu that they used to have down below, and then they created the bar upstairs again. So it's slowly happening. But I think that they are now just keeping it at the bare minimum. So mobile order is getting bad. And I think that the reduced menus it's kind of a shame, like especially for, I'll bring like Grand Californian up, for example. Each location had their own menu, and now they all share the same menu. It's not very fun. Hearthstone Lounge has the same menu as Craftsman Bar, and then even the Craftsman Grill that's next to the pool bar has the same menu. So they really need to start changing it. And it's just a shame, that they are just cutting it to the bare minimum where they can just buy all of the same product and you're just going to get it throughout. So that definitely needs to change.
I mean, you're paying the same prices, and naturally, the caveat that Disney often throws up at is, yeah, but the capacity is far, smaller that we're letting in, so you are getting a better experience on one end, even though you're still spending the money.
They're watching that for themselves mainly. Yeah. They don't care about us. They care about themselves. I mean, I think that again, like if they're able to cut their costs on food and order the same amount of chicken and the same amount and do nachos around, the area, it's going to save them a lot of money for the resort versus having, 3 separate hotel areas where they have 3 separate kinds of dining, and they're just cutting costs, and I get it. That's what they kind of have to do. And especially with the limited amount of cast members that are available for certain locations, they had to do mobile order, and they had to reduce their menu to pump out all this food. But how they did it, how they executed it was really bad. And I think it's progressing more. I'm excited to go back in July to see how it's changed since June 15th. Because again, we went pre-June 15th, and it was chaotic. It was nuts, and I don't know how Disney World was, but in Disneyland it was just it needed to change. So we'll see how it is now, after June 15th, because you never know. I think now they're able to open up maybe for walk-ups for foods instead of mobile order and whatnot, but before it was pretty bad. I mean, we're already hearing that things are shifting in that direction. Certainly a story that we discussed earlier here today was that we're watching as a whole roster of dining locations and more is being offered and reopened as they do so in a phased capacity. But Tyler, what do you think? Is Disneyland, the overall experience, is it declining by degrees? Do you think it's going to keep that trend, or do you think it's on its way back around?
It's definitely not what it was before the pandemic, like no doubt about that. I don't think there's an argument to even be had there. It is, first of all, I want to say that the cast members themselves are fantastic. They do a great job. I don't think the customer service has declined from the individual cast members. I think it's less, like, I don't want to call it customer service as much as I just want to say it's a worse kind of guest experience, because you know, the mobile ordering has been kind of ridiculous. It took us 45 minutes to get French fries and a soda from Smoke Jumpers. And, you know, I even talked to one of the managers holding an iPad, like I mentioned earlier. And I told her, I just gave her feedback. I wasn't angry at her or anything. I just said, you know, when capacity starts going up, this is going to be a huge problem. Like this, you know, this is not okay for the guest experience. When even when going to Sonoma Terrace, you're waiting for a beer, you know, and that took almost an hour to, you know, since the time my window had opened to the time I got my food, we were sitting there for a very long time. And that's not fun. That's not cool. I expect that a lot of these are growing pains. A lot of this stuff with the mobile ordering, they haven't had to do it on such an extensive level before. It is a huge growing pain for them, and I think it'll get better and better. I think one of the things they could definitely change is just putting on the app, like when you're looking at mobile orders, just for each individual restaurant, say walk-ups also available or something like that, because there's a lot of times where you don't know which restaurants are doing walk-ups, which restaurants are only doing mobile order. And even like Sonoma Terrace, for example, when I was talking to this manager, she's like, oh yeah, depending on staffing, sometimes we'll have registers open, sometimes we won't. So it's not even like it's a day-to-day change sometimes, you know, which is a bad guest experience. It needs to be clear where you can go and buy the food at a register and where you can only do mobile orders. So I think that really needs to change. And I also think that in terms of the menu size, I think in menu options, I guess I should say, I think that'll get better as time goes on. I think that they're slowly rolling these things out. They're slowly training new people to come back and, you know, start operating these businesses again, or restaurants. And you know, even places like Napa Rose have a decreased menu right now. So you know, that's not going to stay forever. That's definitely going to change. We're definitely going to start seeing new menu items coming, and you're seeing it with like Lamplight Lounge right now and everything, where they're kind of slowly expanding their menu once again. So that's also going to be kind of coming back, I think. I think the real problem that we run into is just the lack of how many cast members there are, because
and the ones that are there are overworked, and then they have to call out because I mean, how many people can actually work like 6 days in a row, 10 hours? I mean, you're going to break at some point, right? And so, and it's a bummer too, because they don't even give it, if you don't know, like Disney doesn't give you advance notice if you're going to be working late. It's not like a 9-to-5 job. It's like,
well, they do sometimes, but yeah, they will say you're extended today.
You're like literally like in the middle of a shift, and then they're like, we need you for a couple more hours.
I hope you didn't plan anything after work.
Yeah, right. And then I hope you didn't have a nice date or anything, because you got to work. And then if you don't, you kind of have this like sense of like you can't really choose, because it's either people are gonna hate you at work, or you know, you're just gonna, and then you're gonna have to deal with that the next day.
Well, there's this overwhelming sentiment too that like Disney, you know, somebody else will come and take your job if you don't want it, which just sucks. You know, I think it's a horrible mentality, but that's honestly how I think they look at it sometimes. And so I don't know. I think we're not getting back into these like Paul Pressler days necessarily, but I think there's a lot of things that they're working on that do need some time to flourish, because we're obviously things are not perfect right now by any means.
Yeah. So be nice to cast members, because they're overworked.
They're really doing the best they can, and really it comes from the top. If you think you're getting poor customer service right now, it's all from the top, and I feel for the cast members out there, because they're working as hard as they can to keep us having a great time.
Keep in mind, I think it's important also to, you know, all things in context here. They are bouncing back from the pandemic. You know, we give them a lot of, I guess, rope here, you know, for the sake of trying to understand that they're a business that's unlike anything else. They're trying to, in a phased reopening capacity, get everything back online, while also trying to train thousands of people. So there's, you know, a huge logistical hurdle also in place here that they have to get over in order to bring the full experience back to a good place. So I definitely think that we're on the upswing. I don't don't necessarily think that, Danny, you asked, I don't think that we're going down. I don't think that we're back to Paul Pressler era. I don't think that we're going that direction. I think there are a lot of cost-cutting issues at play that are a problem, but I definitely don't think that the overall Disney Parks experience is going to suffer a ton. I think that we are going to start seeing things get better, not worse. So certainly a lot of things, again, at play, and yes, cast members are being overworked at the moment. So please be patient if you are in the theme parks moving forward, as they continue to wait for the reserves, the cavalry to show up for the sake of helping them out. But lots to consider there on that question, but I don't think that we are heading down. I think we're heading back up. And again, if you're somebody that is not comfortable visiting a Disney park because it's less of an experience at the moment and you're still paying the same price, don't go. Wait.
Wise words right there.
Just don't go. I don't understand. I hear it from people from time to time. Well, I'm still paying the same amount. Well, why would you go? If you don't feel like it's a value that's worth it. So please don't. Don't go. Don't put yourself through it. It's something that a lot of people, stress about and have concerns about. And I know many times of the year, for certain families and certain situations, they can only visit during certain times. But all things considered, we're coming out of a pandemic. There's a lot to think about here, that they're trying, again, to get over a major hurdle. So all things to consider for your next trip. Let us know in the comments section. Are you somebody that feels like the Disneyland experience is sliding downward, or is it on the uptrend? As always, we look forward to hearing your perspective. All right, my friends, that about wraps things up for us here at the Kingdom Report this week. As always, we'd like to mention to you, if you are somebody that is looking to be rewarded for watching the broadcast, you can enter our Kingdom Report Live mug giveaway by entering the phrase that pays Disney World 50 in the comment section just beneath this video. You have until Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time to put Disney World 50 in the comment section down below. If you're the winner, we will reach out to you, let you know. Congratulations to Dominic Daly of Oceanside, California. He's last week's winner for the Kingdom Report Live mug giveaway. So excited, apparently. Told his wife, was super giddy. She couldn't understand why he was so thrilled. I get it. I would be just as amped up as you are, Dominic, so congratulations.
I gotta say, that sounds like an alias for a superhero.
Dominic Daly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put on your cape, buddy.
Yeah.
We know
who you are.
We know what you're doing. Yeah. Well, we look forward to being back with you next week for a new Kingdom Report Live. As always, if you have any questions for us, kingdomreportlive.com is the place. And be sure to consider that the legacy of Walt Disney, well, it lives on because of people like you and me. So keep living on with that legacy. We'll see you next week, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, for an all-new Kingdom Report Live.